Okay, this is the video that focuses on topic 1.7, in which we're looking at comparative studies in the global tapestry from 1200 to 1450. Now, before I go on, you're probably asking yourself, well, where is topic 1.6? Due to time constraints and the fact that it's easier if we cover this at a later date, topic 1.6, Europe, will be covered later. Now, when we talk about this, we're going back to the big picture. So, our learning target or our essential question is basically compare how the land empires and trading states of the global tapestry gained power, ruled, supported innovation, and promoted trade during this time period. Now, before we begin, you're probably going to need some paper and some ideas to write down some notes on. Also, I've provided a graphic organizer in the resource section of the lesson that you can follow along and fill in as we go. Now, to kick this thing off, we're talking about comparative studies. So we need to first address what we're talking about. So essentially, when we look at what's on the screen, you see two smartphones. On the left, you see an iPhone 12 Max, and on the right, you see a Galaxy S20 Ultra. So, right now, take a second and think about some aspects that we can compare with these two phones. Okay, so now that you've kind of thought about it, and by all means, if you haven't gotten done thinking about it, press pause. But now that you have an opportunity to think about it, we can look at, first of all, the features of both, or we could look at the memory and the technology included in both. And we could also look at the manufacturer. We could look at many things. For the sake of time, and just to kind of give you an example, I'm going to talk about the specific hardware for both. So when you talk about the hardware, both are smartphones. So they have a lot of memory in both that they can do multiple functions, such as get on the internet. They both have internet browsers. You could take photographs, very detailed photographs, because they both have a camera. Both obviously have a phone function and a texting function and can work on social media platforms. The differences lie not just in the type of technology, but also the advancement. According to what I've researched, the Apple M1 processor is actually a little bit faster and considered to be better than the Galaxy S20 Ultra. Now, if you don't agree, then flip it around. I'm not here to argue with you. Also, the camera on the Galaxy S20 Ultra is much more advanced and better, having multiple angles and multiple ways you can take pictures, okay, than the iPhone. So this is kind of what we're doing. We're taking a look at the big picture, in this case, cell phones, and we're finding similarities and differences within certain categories, okay? So when we talk about the overall thing that you need to learn, this is going back to our learning target. We want to be able to compare how land empires and trading states of the global tapestry not only gained power, but ruled, supported innovation, and promoted trade. So now that we've gone through each of the five main areas, now we're zooming back out and we're looking for similarities and differences. So when we unpack this question, the yellow is our verb, compare. Well, when we compare, we find similarities, we find differences, and we find why. A little bit more on that in a second. Our subject, land empires and trading states of the global tapestry age, is in red, and green is marked out because that's the time period. Any claim or thesis statement is going to have to include the time period. Now, the blue is our topic. We want to look at not only gain power, sorry, that should be blue too, but we also want to focus on how they ruled, supported innovation, and promoted. So just to kind of explain this so far, our verb is to compare. We want to be able to find similarities and differences and explain why there are similarities and differences. We want to focus on the land empires and the trading states during the global tapestry, and we want to find these similarities and differences in how they gained power, how they ruled, how they supported innovation, and how they promoted. Now, though we're not writing this as an essay, this is what a comparison essay prompt looks like. Okay, more on that a little bit later. So before we begin, we have to kind of talk about what would a comparative ACE statement look like? And we're going to talk about the concept of anatomy. When I'm talking about anatomy, we first of all want to focus on the purpose. An anatomy is the study of the individual systems of any organism or anything, really. And we look at those individual systems to understand where they are and how they work. But another thing, and this is forgotten, is how they work together. So when we apply this concept of anatomy to an ACE statement, we're looking at, first of all, what each part should look like, and second of all, how they work together to answer the question. So this is an example of a similarity ACE statement. So one similarity in how states of the global tapestry gained power was that these states developed as a means to protect and provide their populations. For example, the Song Empire of China was established to end the Warring States period after the fall of the Tang. This was the same in South and Southeast Asia, where smaller Islamic, Hindu, and Buddhist states all developed after the fall of the Gupta. In sub-Saharan Africa, there were no unified states prior to this time period. The trading states there developed to provide opportunities for trade with the outside world and protection from war. These states all were created to allow people who lived under their rule opportunities not only to survive, but also to prosper. So when we kind of break this down, obviously this is an ACE statement. And again, I apologize about, the little typos and how it's said, but this is actually one that was turned in a couple of years ago to me. We begin with the A. The A is a claim, and this is a direct answer to the question. So that claim sentence has to have what you're comparing, who you're comparing, and when. So we look at that, okay? It says similarity, so this is what we're doing. And it also says gained power, okay? When we talk about who, we're talking the states of the global tapestry, and also the global tapestry is when. So we want a basic one sentence simple answer, just like we're identifying it. One similarity in how the states of the global tapestry, 1200 to 1450, gained power was that these states developed as a means to protect and provide for their populations. So it has an answer to provide and protect. We're addressing similarities, and we're looking at states of the global tapestry. Now, when we look at the C has to have specific historical evidence. Okay? Also, for a similarity, I would like you to follow what's known as the rule of three. Okay, so we read through it. For example, the Song Empire of China, specific evidence, was established to end the Warring States period after the fall of the Tang. This was the same in South and Southeast Asia, where smaller Islamic, Hindu, and Buddhist states all developed after the fall of the Gupta. Again, this sentence is a little vague, but it does mention the Gupta and fulfills the requirement for specific evidence. In sub-Saharan Africa, there were no unified states prior to this time period. The trading states, specific historical evidence there, developed to provide opportunities for trade with the outside world and protection from war. So the rule of three is where we provide three examples out of the five. Yes, you could give me an example from every single area that we talked about, but that really would be redundant and really too much to write. With this rule of three, we've got a diversity, being East Asia with the Song, South and Southeast Asia, and then finally Sub-Saharan Africa. So that is a majority out of the 5 areas. Now you need to be careful here because if your answer, your A statement, is an incorrect similarity, then your evidence is going to be wrong. But because we know all states developed as a means to protect and provide for their population, this is a correct statement. Finally, the E is the explanation, the why. Why was this important for a state to do, or a state to have, or a state to use? Okay, so my sentence there, these states were all created to allow people who lived under the rule opportunities to not only survive, but also prosper. That's explaining why these states developed, because these states gave the opportunity. Okay, so again, as I take notes of this, make sure I understand what is the main components of each sentence in this, or each area, the A, the C, and the E, but also how they come together not only to answer, but also to prove the answer correct. So when we look at a difference, one difference in how the states of the global tapestry, 1200 to 1450, gained power was the type of state that developed. For example, in East Asia and parts of Dar es Salaam, large land empires were established, such as the Song and the Seljuk empires. In South Asia, Southeast Asia, the Americas, and Sub-Saharan Africa, trading states were established. Trading states such as the Vienna Jager, Mali, and the Aztec came to power because they controlled trade. Areas that saw the development of land empires had a tradition of empires, while areas that saw the rise of trading states saw the development of these because of their diversity and inability of these governments to unify their populations over long distances. So this is a little bit different animal. The A statement really remains the same. What, who, when of the comparison, and also the answer. So you've got the word difference, and you're saying that they're different in the type of state. Now, evidence is going to be a little bit different. Again, we require specific historical evidence. So in this C statement, we see East Asia, parts of Dar es Salaam, the Song and the Seljuk empires as your land empires, and then trading states in those areas, such as the Vienna Jager, Mali, and the Aztecs. Okay? So what your strategy here is not the rule of 3. It's basically saying, on one hand, there were land empires, that would be the A, and then on the other hand, we have the B, which is trading states. Now, the E is also different. Again, we're explaining, but what we're explaining here is why they were different. Now, this is difficult because this requires some thinking. So why did some areas see land empires where others saw the rise of trading states? Well, basically, it's because of not only their tradition of empire, but really the ability of the local core state governments to unify people over longer distance. Okay? Trading states developed in South and Southeast Asia basically because the population was so diverse. And there's no way that one state could unify like the Guptas had. Okay? All right, so I want to try you out for a second. Okay, so I would like you to write an A statement for this prompt. Identify and describe one similarity in how the trading states and land empires of the global tapestry supported innovations. Press pause right now and go ahead and write it out. Okay, welcome back. All right, so an example. And again, one thing, you could have written a number of different things. But my main similarity is how the states of the global tapestry supported innovation was they focused on agricultural innovations. So I've got my similarity, I've got my answer, which is agricultural innovations, I've got the who and the when. So my evidence, remember this is the rule of 3, I give 3 examples. For example, states such as the Song China, the states of Dar es Salaam, and sub-Saharan Africa biologically transferred foods such as champa rice in China, rice and sugar in Dar es Salaam, and bananas in sub-Saharan Africa. Now, if I'm reaching for a little bit deeper analysis, for example, a higher grade, other states, such as the Aztecs and the Incas, developed agricultural technology like chinampas and waru. The reason why I added the second statement is because if I just left the first statement in the biological transfer, that would be an incorrect similarity because not all states biologically transferred food, but all states focused on agricultural innovations, and my evidence has supported that. So then I've got my why. These states focused on agricultural innovations, okay, in order to promote the survival of their large populations. So again, the key thing here is to understand what evidence do I need to provide to prove my A statement correct. Here, I really can't use the rule of three because I can't say that all states biologically transferred food. Now, could I have said that states such as Song China and Dar es Salaam biologically transferred food such as champa rice in China and rice and sugar in Dar es Salaam, and other states such as the Aztecs developed chinampas? Yes, I could. But make sure that the evidence that you provide totally makes that A statement correct. So activity 2 here, I would like you to focus on a difference. Now this is a little bit different because I've shifted the question to promote trade. Pause right now and go ahead and write up what you think. Okay, so essentially one example, and again you could have many, one difference in how the states of the global tapestry promoted trade was the role that they played in trade. Okay, so I've got my difference, I've got my who and my when, and then I've got my specific difference, the role they played in trade. Now, my evidence here, what I'm basically doing is I'm saying some were producers of luxury goods and some were trading states controlling access. So, my evidence, for example, states such as Song China, the Delhi Sultanate, and the Khmer Empire in South and Southeast Asia all produced luxury goods such as silk, iron, porcelain, cotton, and spices. Other states, such as the states of Dar es Salaam, Mali in Africa, and the Srivijaya in southeast India, controlled access to trade for luxury goods. So notice there, I've got an A and a B, though I do not use every single area in every single state. I've proved that there was a difference. My main difference being you have producers versus controller of trades. Now, I also want you to notice that, okay, we're focusing on comparisons. The little typos such as the Srivijaya in Southeast India really don't count against you because, okay, you've got the general area. It should say Southeast Asia. But in the AP exam, they're more focused on the skill rather than nitpicking you on little mistakes. Be careful though. If the mistake makes it totally wrong, such as the Srivijaya in Africa, then it would be wrong. So then I've got my E statement. The different roles in trade were caused by the geography of where they existed. Some states had resources that could be used to produce luxury goods, while others were located on key routes people had to take to conduct trade. So I've proved it out, I've provided specific evidence, and I've provided basically a reason why they were different. Okay, so what you need to do now is you need to make sure that you've done that assignment about thinking about key comparisons. I gave you in that assignment 6 potential SAQs. And whereas this test will not have any writing, there definitely will be some multiple choice. So you need to go now and go back and think about, okay, how you would answer this, because I might ask you for An A statement, I might ask you for some evidence, or I might ask you why they were similar or why they were different.